Tonight's topic is African Americans and the labor movement. And it is an American story.
Members of the Congressional Black Caucus have an opportunity to speak directly to the American people on an issue of great significance to us, which is the future of the organized labor movement and how that relates to the economic viability of the African American community and to America as a whole.
Labor unions have historically sought to fight for workers' right, to increase wages, raise the standard of living for the middle class, ensure safe working conditions, and increase benefits for both workers and their families.
Labor unions played an important role in the civil rights movement. Today, the labor movement continues to be an important issue for African Americans, just as important as it was 50 years ago during the March on Washington for jobs and freedom.
On August 28, 1963, more than 300,000 people, including myself, witnessed the call for civil and economic rights for African Americans, and on that hot day in August, we heard Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. deliver his historic I Have a Dream speech. The march was one of the largest rallies for civil rights in the history of our country, and it was organized in large part, I want to make this point, it was organized in large part by labor unions.
And what we see today is an erosion of that dream.
In 2012, more than 14 million people were members of a labor union. But you know what? That is down from almost 18 million 30 years ago. That is very sad. Why is that?
That there are some forces out here in the country determined to crush the ability of the American worker to organize and fight collectively for a decent way of life.
Perhaps most damaging have been the onslaught of disgraceful anti-union policies that we have seen on television, sadly seen on television, that have been signed into law in states all across the country.
We got a lot of reasons to be thankful to organized labor.
Because my dad was a union worker. Oftentimes I say I was able to go to college because of union dollars.
When I was in high school, that I worked at a grocery store, and it was a union grocery store, probably the only one in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I remember that you know, we had benefits, we had time and a half, we were paid extra on holidays. We were young people, but we were allowed to make a little extra money. It wasn't, no one certainly got rich off of it, but at least when we were working extra on those days that people would normally have off, when we worked those extra hours during the summer and when school was out, we were compensated for it, and compensated for it fairly, and really proud of that.
I was proud as a member of the state legislature at the time in 2012 to support the effort to unionize by a group of very courageous cable workers in Brooklyn, organized by the Communication Workers of America. They voted in the face of significant pressure to the contrary to join the union and to organize a chapter in order to fight for better wages and for stronger health care and the possibility of a better retirement.
We must continue to fight for those in our community who are denied economic opportunity and equality. Labor unions are at the forefront of these endeavors.
The success of our country is not because of us here in Congress, the policymakers, but it's because of the hard work of so many Americans who help build a strong and resilient nation.
And we in the CBC believe that the best way to get there is not to continue to attack organized labor, but to recognize what it has done for this country and to strengthen organized labor as we move forward. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.